Hello, 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 hello. Welcome along, everyone. Yeah, that's a little bit loud. Hold on a second. Just turn it down a little bit. Don't know if it's too loud for you guys, but yeah, sure, something like that is better. Okay, yeah, welcome along, guys. This is, what is it, part 3? Something like part 4 of GadTools tutorials. So I'm going to do a little bit more on GadTools and then maybe look at doing some commodity stuff in Blitz Basic. So that's the story. How are you all doing? I hope everyone's okay. Yes, welcome along, and hello to anyone who I saw at Kickstart, because that was last weekend and that was a pretty epic weekend. Pretty good show, I have to say. It was awesome. And yeah, so I got to meet a load of people there who I haven't met before, including, of course, Dan, who's running the Tool Jam and who ran the Blitz Basic Game Jam there before. Actually, what we do is give a little shout out to about the Tool Jam. There we go. That's the link there. So I'm doing these tutorials as a, just to show that, like, it's possible to do system friendly software with Blitz Basic, and it is, and it's quite good for it. And yeah, if you go there, you can have a look and you can see that there are some, basically the idea is that there's a competition to develop some programs that are useful or not so useful, and yeah, enter them there, and there's some pretty awesome prizes. And yeah, but that's the story. So I've just submitted one of my entries. So there's a category for most useless tool, so I have submitted my entry for that. And it's, yeah, obviously it's not a very useful tool. In fact, it's the opposite. But yeah, so I've made my entry, and I will be now working on my actual entry. So I'll have this. I've just I've got some basic framework there, but I'll be working on that over the next few weeks and months. Actually, I think it runs until October, something like that. Thereabouts. Okay, but anyways, yes, so this is where we are. We have, like the last time, we had made a little program that does quite a bit with its interface. It looks something like this. So, oh, that's interesting. Oh, something funny's happened here because my Magic Menus is broken. So before anything else happens, I am going to see, so we can add items, but this is looking weird. So I'm going to reboot the whole thing because I need a little bit of a clean system for this. I think that system's being abused. Whatever's going on there. Okay, so here we go. Oh, and it's Saturday night as well. So I have. Oh, because it's Saturday night, and yeah, I'm kind of on holidays. Not really, but kind of on holidays. Gonna have a little beer. Oh yeah. Hey Cammy, welcome along. Welcome along. You're up early. You're always up early, I think. But yeah, cool. Good to have you here. And Cammy, for everyone in the chat, is actually running the a game jam. Oh, I see you're approaching from the other end. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. So the Amiga Game Jam is or the Amiga Game Jam is a different story altogether. So it's not run by Dan, and it's Cammy here is running it, and that is to create a game based on a certain theme, and it's swords and sorcery. I think it's the theme this year, and so this is on the go as well. So you know if you are if making games is your thing, that's worth checking out as well. I don't know if you want to drop a link to it there, Cammy, just to while you're there. But yes, some interesting looking entries already, so it's still plenty of time on that. But yeah, that's looking good. But I'm a fan of these game jams and the non-game jams. So there you go. Okay, so we have started up again. Let's see if this is working any better now. Oh. Why did I rename it? Okay, so let's see if that's working. That looks better. That's the way it's supposed to look. There we go. Thank you, Cammy. That's anyone's interested in joining the game jam or even having a look at that there. There's the link. And that's produced some excellent new games for the Amiga over the last while. Now, I think the last time the theme was to create ports. Have you tried it, Cammy? You know, it is in the most useless tool category, and for a good reason. So I just hope I don't disappoint you. But yeah, the Amiga Game Jam last year was well, basically for ports from other systems, and for a lot, and there were a lot of older games that were ported to the Amiga, and a lot of games from other platforms, and there were some excellent entries. Good stuff. But yeah, so this is what we were working on in the previous sessions. So we've got sorry, I'm going to turn that music down just another little bit. That'll do, I think. Okay, I'm actually going to change the song because that's just a little bit annoying, a little bit too full on. That's a bit better. Okay, so yeah, so here's our program, and what we have done with GadTools is we've made a program that can you can resize it. We got rid of the graphical glitches we were getting when we did that, where the border was being overdrawn on the window. So we've used a special mode called Gimme 00, which basically sort of keeps the window borders and decorations separate from the actual contents of the window. So it uses a little bit more memory, but it makes things a lot neater when you're resizing the window, because what would happen before was when you went like that, you would get the borders in the window, and it would be just a little bit sloppy like that. So it wasn't pretty. But what happened was I had an issue with with the 00 position. So Gimme 00, without it, what happens is the 00 position, the origin of the window, is right up here. So if you create a gadget that's at 00, it's up here. It actually overwrites that corner of the window, so it overwrites the close gadget. So you have to add on the borders of the window, and of course the borders can change thickness, especially if you change fonts, or if you use Visual Prefs or one of the next gen Amiga OSs, they can all, you know, have different border sizes. So it's a little bit messy to deal with that. So Gimme 00 is a simple way of dealing with that in exchange for a little bit of extra RAM. And what that does is that means that when you put a gadget at 00, it goes there. Now, there was an issue that I was kind of like thinking is an incompatibility and a change in behavior between Blitz 2 and Amiga Blitz 3, but it turns out I think it's just a flag that is set by default differently in both of them. So I only found it at the end of the last stream. So we're gonna try that out now. So you can see here that our window's looking all right. We've got our menus set up. We can add items, and we can click on them, and we can edit them. And can we? Okay, no, we can't. But let me see. Oh yeah, sorry, I changed it to that, didn't I? Oh, I can't remember how I made it work anyway. But basically, yeah. So maybe I'm not using the right version of this program, because I am sure we did that. Let me see. Yeah, no, this is an old version of the code. Let me see. Do I have a newer version? What are the dates on them? No, that was the latest one. Anyways, yeah, we're doing fairly well now. So yeah, GT change list is there. Oh, maybe we didn't actually. I don't think we didn't actually add that feature. We did, because I remember towards the end we were doing the being able to get rid of things without redrawing the whole window. So we did that. So we can add items, and then we can remove an item. But yeah, what we're doing is we're populating the text box with whatever text we pick from this, which is fine. Okay, so what I can do is, well, first off, what we can do is we can try adjusting that flag with the 00 borders, because what was happening was, in this version, we weren't actually able to draw over the borders, and when we connected, or when we set up gadget, it would show up in the corner here, even though Gimme 00 wasn't set. So now that Gimme 00 is set, it adds on the height again, so we actually can't use this top part of the window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a flag that will hopefully deal with that. So up here we have our statement calculate gadget, so that lays out our window. This takes into account the window size and calculates all the sizes of all the gadgets. And so there's a flag new look prop on, so that gives it the workbench 2, 3, and so on look. And the I can't remember what the command is, so we're going to have a look at the GadTools command, and we see here GT GZZ position. Okay, and we're going to turn that off, I think. I think that's the difference. The only difference is that in Blitz 2 it defaults to off. I think that's the situation here. So let us see if that works. So it still looks like we've still got a gap there. Just gonna see if it makes any difference to turn it on. Oh, there we go. So we have to turn that on. I see. And now we have slight issues. But okay. GadTools has some decent documentation in Blitz, but I think it still leaves out a lot of stuff that you kind of have to find by trial and error. The best place for the documentation is the autodocs, and and that's for both. Like the autodocs of MUI and the autodocs of GadTools are both they're both quite good. They're both quite well written. But this is slightly concerning because when we clear the window, it doesn't seem to be clearing the top few pixels. So let's have a look at what happens when we resize. New size. We do an inner CLS, and that should clear the entire window, but it will not clear the title bar, and CLS will do, or borders. Yeah, which is what we want. We don't want it to clear the borders, but if your window was not open with a give me 00 flag set. But what I don't understand is why it won't clear the next 18 pixels. You see? So we originally skipped about 18 pixels there, and that's why I had initially moved it down there. Let me see if there's something going on here. So the string gadget is our first one, and our Y position is font size +1, so that gives us space for the label, and window border top is added on as well. So we take that away, and we switch off this flag. See, it's still leaving some pixels there. Okay, so that is not the solution I thought it was, because clearing the window still leaves that space. It's mildly annoying. But okay, well, anyways, right, that does give you the coordinates. It does give you sort of your 0 coordinates, so that's kind of what we want, other than that glitch at the top. That is annoying. But yeah, so window border top. Why is that still giving a 0 there? Like, window border top should be window border top should be quite tall. Okay, offset and window border top. So we should get it on our debug output. It's the second number by 2 pixels. Okay. Okay, yeah, so that's the border without the font size. So the window offset Y is window border top plus font size. So font size +1 plus window border top should be window offset Y. So we're going to add that. We're going to share that variable, get that, and we use that instead. W offset Y, W offset Y, W offset Y. Oh, it's already there. Sorry, we already have it there. So that should work. Yeah. But yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. So I wonder, should I just, instead of doing a WCLS, just do a big blit on it. I can't. I don't think I can do that. I think I can only draw a box. Inner CLS. Let's see. Can I do it? No, I can't. So what I might do is I might see if I can do use the OS to draw the box instead of using that, and then I can manually specify the coordinates that should be filled in. So we do have all the OS function calls at our fingertips here. So I don't really have I don't really know them all that well, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to yeah, graphics.library is there. So let me see. Graphics.library. Sorry, I'm just looking up the things here. No, let's see. So let's see. So that the call is rectfill. You should have known that. So what it'll look like is something like this. And for an OS call, you put an underscore on it in Blitz, and then it recognizes it as an OS call. Okay. Okay, so that's our OS call. So if you look at that, so the first parameter is the RAS port. Now that's the address of the actual. It's literally the address in memory where you want to draw this rectangle. For that, we need to get the Windows RAS port. So our current window is. Do we have that saved in a pointer somewhere? We do. So you can see here that we have our Windows structure saved in the pointer win. So let's have a look at win and have a look at inside that. So here's our variable of the type window, and in here somewhere we should have a RAS port pointer. There we go, or port. So what we need to do is we need to pass that value onto the rectfill command. So, and that'll be, hopefully that's fine, and that's our pointer. You don't use the actual star, even though it's a pointer type. You don't use the actual star because a pointer is just a long word value for a memory address. So there's RAS port, and then xmin, ymin, xmax, and ymax. For now, I'm just going to do just to see if it works. And that should do it. Do we have it? Can we set a pen? How do we set a pen? It should be let me see. So we probably have to set a pen. If no area fill pattern specified, fill the rectangular region with the foreground pen color, taking into account the drawing mode. Let me see. How do we set the foreground pen? Set a pen. Okay, set a pen. Set a pen. Do that first. So set a pen, and that's the same RAS port. That should be it. RAS port and pen. Okay, and that should clear to color 0. So just for the moment, well, okay, let's just do the whole hug. We do have the inner width and inner height, don't we? Where do we have them? IW and IH, are they shared? They need to be shared. How do we do that? Surely I don't have them just locally. Do I now? Okay, so I'll have to get them then. Okay. So inner width and inner height, IW and IH. Inner width and inner height. Let's see. And there we go. Okay, so that's fine. That's deleting our window. All good. Okay, so now we're pushing right up against the border as well, which is cool. So you can see here we're after taking away the little gap, so it's no longer balanced at the sides. So I'm going to just fix that as well. And we probably want to move the first gadget down a few more pixels, so give it a gap of 5 there. But also the we were subtracting the window offset X, and we don't need to do that anymore because we fixed that problem. Let's have a look. And now they're nice and balanced again. Cool, and everything's erasing, and we've got a nice little 5 pixel gap at the top, all looking fantastic. Okay, we've got a big gap at the bottom. Let's stretch things down a little bit. So button 1, button 2, and cycle gadget. Okay, gadgets 1 minus font size minus 10. Okay, so button 1, inner height minus 11. We don't need that offset. But yeah, okay, so that should give us a gap of 11 at the bottom. I don't know why it's 11 and not 10. Let's have a look. But it kind of looks balanced there. There we go. Sure, that'll do. And yeah, so that, oh yeah, so read, we'll just read whatever text is in there. Add item, add item, add item. We click them and that'll set that one, and then we can reset it to test message. Okay, cool. So, all right, so that's fine. There's let me think. Oh, there's one more thing I was going to do. Just, you know, it's one of these things that just makes an interface a little bit nicer, a little bit neater, is to draw a little border along the window. So you can draw a GadTools border, and it will use the GadTools drawing system, like the drawing call, so it'll look just like a GadTools gadget, but it's not. It literally just draws the rectangle, which is fine, but it's quite cool for some stuff. Like let's see. Let's go in and have a look at the documentation here and see. It's bevel box, isn't it? Yeah, bevel box, that's it. And okay, that's how you use it. So you give it the GT list, fine, XY width, height, and flags. So 0 is raised and anything else is recessed. The type, we don't really need that. But that, yeah, so it'll look like a button, but we can play with it. But so GT bevel box, and this just looks nice, but it can sometimes be used for separating areas of the program out. It's, you know, it's quite nice. Bevel box. But the first thing is the GT list, which we've just called GT list. You'll have to call that something else under Blitz 2, because I think Blitz 2 will take that to be a command and it won't see it as a constant. So just bear that in mind. GT list, and then it's just a case of XY with height and 0 to make it stand out. So we're going to do inner width, inner height, and 0. Whoop. Oh, you can only draw it after the window's opened. Okay, fine. Yeah, I was trying to remember that bit. So let's move that down here. So once we've attached the GT list, we can then draw gadget borders based on that. Okay, and you see the way it's just given this extra little border around the full size of the window. And I think it just adds a little bit more, you know, a sort of a slightly more fancy touch to it. It's not a huge thing, but you know, it's for a line of code, makes it look a little bit prettier, you know. But that can be used to separate, like, you know, for example, you could put one box around the top part and one box around the bottom part, you know, just to separate the window into two different sections. What else? What else? Okay, so GadTools stuff. What else were we doing? Well, what we might do is, I know we didn't have anything there, but if we add items here and we click there, what about editing it and sending it back to that? You know, so basically updating the list of what we say, so we can modify this list. So let's do that, and it's a bit more sort of, you know, of how the program works to that. Okay, so let's go have a look at that. So when we enter a new item in the string gadget, we get an event. And that event is the string event. So at the moment we don't do anything except get the string. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to get that string and, you know, we just output the string. So we're going to put it in, let's call it my strings. I don't know if I've used that already, but anyways, so we're getting our string, we're putting it in a variable this time, and that'll let us do stuff with it. So what we are going to do is, so do we have current item is only equal to -1. So what we have is we have a variable called current item, which tells us the currently selected item. Okay. Oh yeah, so and basically it's going to be this sort of a carbon copy of this kind of code here. So just copy and paste that. So we have to check basically to make sure there is a list item actually selected, because if not, and you try to update it, you could end up causing problems with pointers and stuff like that, because it might be 0, and then updating a pointer at 0 is a bad idea. That's instant crash. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to mess with null pointer. So you always check to make sure you've got a valid item. And in this case, we're going to do current item unequal to -1. So -1 because the items in the list start at 0, and they're inside the list view. They're numbered 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when the current item is -1, it just indicates that there are either no items in it or 65,536. Which obviously isn't going to happen because, yeah, but you can try. Okay, so -1, that's our flag. So list items is equal item type. So list items. So instead of list items item type, going to do list items item name instead of item type. That's where we're storing it. So list items / item name equals. Now, so we've updated the actual entry in our internal list, but that won't update the gadget. That's just updating our array to contain the right information. So the next thing we need to do is update the list. So well, I think in theory what we're supposed to do is, what's it? Where is it? GT change list to turn it off and then to turn it back on again. So we do GT change list first without the list ID, and that detaches the list from what's on the screen. So for that instant, it's kind of left floating. I'm not sure if that should be done with or without multitasking, or with, whether we should disable, but we'll go with it for now anyway. And the second parameter is what's the cycle? What's the ID of the? Oh, whoops. It's just called list. Okay, so list. So we do that. We change our list, and then we add the list back in by using the same command, but giving it an array this time. So that should show our updated array. Hopefully, let's see. So we add some add items. This is item 0, 1, 2. Okay, so we go click on this item 1. This is item 100, and there we go. So that's our list now updating, and so that will have kept there. That's fine. We can also, this is item 100. We can change that to tool, and we can see that this is something we did the last time, that we also update this cycle gadget. And so everything seems to be fine. We can delete, remove items, and remove items. Now let me see, and add item again, and that's fine. But let's see, let's just make sure we don't have a bug there. So if we remove the item and we do some text in here and press enter, oh no, we get it crashed because no current item. So when we deleted the last item, we should have changed current item to -1. So we need to find out where that is happening. And so so we're removing an item. Kill item. So what we can do is we can just keep a count of the items, and when it gets to 0, we set it to -1. Current item. So move to current item. Hey, I'm immortal. Whoop whoop. Hey, happy Saturday. How are things? Yeah, how? Excellent. Hi, Paula. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you're having a nice weekend. I'm having a quiet Saturday night now because my wife and son are away on holidays. So I will probably be joining them later on their holiday, but I'm not off for a month, so I can't do that really. I can't join them for the whole thing. But yeah, so that was them gone this morning. So I've been had an empty house today, which is great, and all very relaxing and quiet. But yeah, I get to watch the Formula 1 tomorrow for the first time in ages, so I'm looking forward to that as well. Okay, so yeah, and plenty of time to work on the list of things that Sarah has left me. So. Yeah, I think, aside from the Formula 1 tomorrow, I have a garden fence to fix, and I've got a whole heap of stuff to do, but it's all good. It's all good. All good. Now, so we need to stop that bug from happening, because you can see there the Blitz debugger caught that before it crashed, and that was when there's no currently used item, that would be a crash if it wasn't what am I saying? That would crash if the debugger wasn't running. So if you compile that into a standalone program, so it run it outside of Blitz, it would crash if you had no items in the list and you tried to edit one. So what we can do is so we just have to work around that. So I think we need to set up a variable for counting our items. Item count. I do actually have a variable there. I just never actually implemented it. Oh, sorry, it remembers. So let me see. Why do I have that? So item count is added. It just is never removed. Okay, so we never added that bit of code. So kill item there. Actually, you know what? Change list should be before the kill item, just in case something happens and it accesses an item that doesn't exist. Okay, so move to item, and then and item count -1. So here we go. If item count equals 0, then we just say current item is -1, just to show that it's all switched off. We could also just check that to make sure there is an item in there, but so let's see. So if we do something here, yeah, it just ignores it. Cool. Okay, so add item, add item, add item. Let's see. That works. And now we delete the items, remove item, remove item, remove item. And we can edit here, and it still does nothing. Although it does read it, and it does still respond as a gadget. Okay, so that's pretty cool. That all works, and we've got a nice robust workaround for that issue where the list is empty. There's another thing that can be done to make it just a little bit more, you could say, professional, I suppose. But what we can do is you can disable gadgets, and if you use the GT enable command. So I'm going to go up here to where we create our gadgets, and we're going to say if the current item is -1, we're going to have to share current item up here. If we haven't already, have we? We haven't. I mean, we probably should have. Just for a second, I'm going to check this just to see, because I foresee an issue, another bug that we might have had. So if we add some items, let's say, so we've selected item 1, we move. Oh, it is still selecting. Okay, so that's done outside the loop. Okay, that's fine. GT list view. List items. Okay. So what we're going to do now is if our current item is -1, we are going to, so basically if we have no selected items, GT disable so we disable the gadget that is string, and we'll do, oops, yeah, I wanted to copy and paste that line, and we'll do the same down here. So if we've taken away our last item, now we'll disable that gadget, and then if we add an item, we'll just check as well. And so just for the first item, so we've added one. So if only if it's the first item, we will, let's get rid of that code. We don't really need that. We'll enable the gadget again. Okay, so this should, okay, so you see now there are no list items, so we can't actually edit it. So we add some items, and now, okay, there's still no selected items. Okay, so yeah, but you can see it's enabled there, and then if we remove the items, it disables it again. But it shouldn't actually enable until something's clicked. So we've got that enable in the wrong place. So let's get rid of it from there. And where do we click? If we click on the list, so button 1, button 2, string list. So current item is equal to EC. And then, okay, so before that, so if we're disabled, you know, if we don't have the current item selected, oh yeah, I copied the whole lot, didn't I? So there we go. So we enable it, GT list and string. So it's disabled now. Let's add an item. Still not enabled, still not enabled, still not enabled until we click. There we go. That's working the way it should. Excellent. And we can delete an item, delete an item, delete an item. And it's disabled again. Cool. So there you go. That makes for quite a neat, quite a, you know, an intuitive setup there. Now, what else were we going to do with that? Was that it? Were there other GadTools that we wanted to look at? And like there are a few other gadgets, but they all work in a kind of a similar way. You know, you set their properties and you can read and write their properties using the kind of very similar commands. Yeah, no, that's it. So I think that I'm quite happy with that. Now we've got our borders right. We've got the window looking well. Everything seems to work as it should. So okay, so that's for GadTools anyway. I think that will do for now. We can have a look at some more GadTools at some other point. Let me think. Let's just have a look at some, quickly have a look at a couple of other gadgets. So our list view there is basically it's based on the position of the buttons. So what we're going to do is just move our buttons back up a bit. So we're going to put in another row of buttons just below them, just first, you know, just to squeeze them in somewhere. So we'll just do something like that. So that should move everything up. Yeah. Okay. So we have another row underneath there that we can use. And what we'll do is we will add another. Let's add. Let's add some an MX gadget. That's a mutually exclusive gadget, and you'll kind of know them already. They're sometimes called the radio buttons. And it's a multiple select. It's kind of like the cycle gadget, but it just has buttons instead. And yeah, we'll do one of them, just see how it looks. Let me see, where are we going? An MX gadget. So we'll do something similar for this. And we'll do it down the other side. Plus font size, plus something like that. Should give a gap. We'll adjust the gap afterwards because it's probably going to look rubbish like that. But X, I don't think you can actually set the width and height of a radio gadget. I think, you know, you set the X and Y coordinates, but we'll do something here anyway. Is it GTMX? It is. Okay, so and then it's the X and Y and width and height, same as the other ones. So gadgets, X and Y, width, height, text is the title of it, so it's not actually one of the options. So we won't give it a thing because it should be, you know, a radio gadget probably doesn't need a title as such, not often, or yeah. So what we'll do is text and then flags. Flags is usually where it's put, so it'll be would usually be that, and then the options is something like this, and it's basically all the options in a string separated by the pipe or bar symbol. Okay, we can also set which one is set by default, but so what we'll do, we will share that thing, so it's option. Hey Nivrig, welcome along. How are you? And a happy Saturday. How are you? Have you recovered yet? Nivrig was went pretty full bore at the Kickstart show. So he was there before, well, certainly before the Scottish lads, and he was there for another night after we went. So that's pretty hardcore going, and I'm impressed. But yes, so we are doing some non-gamey stuff. What we're doing is we're just doing lots of different GadTools gadgets, and we're throwing them in random stuff. Excellent, glad to hear it. So current item, let's just put option there, and we're going to make a little variable up here, and that'll be 0. So let's see if it even works. And it doesn't work, because why have our other gadgets moved down again? Ay. So button 1 should have moved everything up a bit. Oh yeah, because I copy and pasted. Oh, come on, Rob, get it together. Copy and paste. There we go. Oh, we did want to keep that because relative to button 1 is our coordinates are relative to button 1. Okay, still didn't work, but at least we've got space for it now. So we want to move that down by another chunk. Okay, now that's just annoying. I also didn't update it down here, Rob. Half a bottle of beer in, folks. That's it's all right. Saturday, I'm kind of on holidays. Well, sort of. That's kind of what we wanted. What has happened here? Okay, so the flags option is normally where the title goes, but I think what we need to do instead is place text right, and there might be extra flags in this to determine the layout. Yeah, so now we're getting somewhere. So we've changed that. The flag for the layout is place text right, and so now we don't need to go down quite so far. So we can do that. You can see the other options below it, but what I wanted to do is put it over here. So there is a way of doing that, and I'm nearly sure it's in the flags of this. No. Well, that's mildly annoying. So what I'm going to do is there has to be a set of tags or something I can use. So what we do is GTMX, and that should give us all the options we have in the OS calls, because you can just add them. So scale, spacing. Oh, maybe you can't do them to the right. I thought you could. Now, scaled, that should be true. Because you can see there that by default, it does them for a non-interlaced screen. And so you get this, you know, there should be a circle size, and it's rendering them quite flat because this is an interlaced resolution. So we're going to add some tags to that. So GT tags. So we're going to apply these tags to the MX. Oh, we don't even need to do that. We don't. We just literally give it the tags and it applies them to the next gadget. Okay. So and we just set that for true, I think. Let's try that. No. Yeah. I don't know what that flag is supposed to be. How do you set that? I don't know. Let's ignore it for now. I think it's supposed to be true. It's true -1. No. Okay, let's not. Let's ignore that. Okay, let's just pretend that worked. I can't remember how to do that. What else? Oh yeah, the layout. So I think we're just going to move them up and put a, you know, fudge it a bit. So we'll move that 10, and we're going to move our buttons up a little bit to allow a little bit more space. -15. There we go. That's starting to look like a respectable setup there. Cool. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll fill the space here with a checkmark box, because that's the other kind of common gadget. So let's add a checkmark. Checkbox, I think they're called. Checkbox. And so what we're going to do is the X. So instead of that, we're going to do, instead of setting it off the left, we're going to do it to the right. So and this is kind of a funky one, because we're going to set it like, we're going to give it a border of 10, but also we're going to take away the width of the box, which is usually about the font size plus a couple of pixels, even though it's in the X direction. Let's go. Let's try that. And we have it at the same position there. And then GT checkbox, similar idea. GT list, ID, stop reading. Checkbox, what else have we got? And then, yeah, X and Y. So it's all the same stuff as here. Checkbox, checkbox. Checkbox, checkbox, and checkbox. And we're going to put the label to the left. To the left. Oh, what's happened here? Array subscript out of range. How many gadgets do we allow for? Probably not enough. 5 gadgets. Okay. Let's set there 6 gadgets. And there we go. Check this. Oh, we need to move in another 10 pixels by the looks of it. How did we manage to do that? I think it's done a double width kind of thing. Again, that's the proportion for the screen aspect. Oh, now I have solved that problem before and I can't remember. So GT tags. It's not I guess GT tags. Is there another command for setting the tags? Oh yeah, set attrs. Maybe that's it. GT set attributes. Oh, and the other thing we want to do is the flags, I think. Oh, see, okay, so this is, it's given the actual value instead of the OS flag, which is annoying. So 100 is checked by default and 200 is scaled. But what we should do is use the actual include or the actual OS names for these things. So GT list view, flags, GT menu, X. Where is it? CB, let's see, did I miss it? I did. GTCV scaled, GTCV checked. So we're not using the flags, so we'll do it well, okay, let's try it with the flags. So we'll add a flag for this. But I don't think this is going to work. It's actually after disabling it, and it's after putting this text somewhere elseways. Okay, that's not how we do that. So I think we need to use instead, that seems to be a blitz way of doing things, so we set a tag instead. Checked. Set that to true. Okay, so at least it's doing that. Probably going to do the same bloody thing. Gonna have to give up and use magic numbers. That's annoying. Okay, magic numbers is the way to go though. Also, we can't check it. Why is that? Let's just get rid of that for now. I wonder if the same thing works for that one. Whoa. Oh yeah. What's going on there? Scale each MX button to the specified width and height. You don't specify any width or height. Where's it getting those numbers from? Looks like it's made it 200 wide though. It's not something silly like that, is it? No. If we just build it into the value. No, that's doing crazy things. Okay, let's get rid of that for now. We'll just leave it as it is for now. Checkbox, we need to move over to the left and it needs to be clickable. Why isn't it clickable? Checkbox. Exposition -10. We did add 2 to that. Minus font size. Well, I actually did mean to put -2 there, but that should be -20. Let's see. Oh, it's doing the same thing. It's making a giant checkbox, isn't it? So let's take that out for a second and have a look. Yeah. And it's checkable as normal. That's fine. You can also see that it's getting a clicked event. It'll do that every time. That doesn't give you the actual status of the gadget. It's just the event of you literally just clicked on it. We need to make our minimum width a bit wider for that. I'm going to have a look at some other code of mine just to see how I managed to get that going. Some interesting GadTools code in here, but where's open window? Let's see. Do I do my gadgets in here? Okay. Here are our gadgets now. Do I actually even set them right here? So let's see. GT. There's a checkbox. I do have $200 there. Oh, it is actually setting. Oh, Rob. Oh, Rob. It is actually. I gave it a width and a height that I just copied from other gadgets, and of course, it doesn't like them because that was set for the button. There you go. So I can redo the MX ones as well to do the same thing. So let's add on 200 to that, and checkbox. So we actually did specify a width and a height, and they were terrible widths and heights. So it's something like that. And the height, font Y size +7. Yeah. And there we go. Hey, 16-bitten, welcome in, welcome along. Yeah, it's I'm a little bit rusty, but I am trying to, you know, trying to help others as well as helping myself. So, how are you? So yeah, I don't know if you, how much you know about this, but this is Blitz Basic on the Amiga, and I am doing this in sort of in aid of the there's an Amiga tool jam that's going on at the moment. So it's a competition to write a system-friendly tool or utility or something, and this is basically just to show that you know, you can do it in Blitz Basic as well as C or anything like that. So there's some details on the jam if you want to have a look at that. So yeah, it's just forgetting half this stuff. Font Y size. So MX, we're going to do the same thing here. And see how it looks. Okay, the MX gadget didn't like that, but at least it's the right height now. Check this. Okay, so that's there. Height, font Y size +7. Surely it doesn't mean the whole gadget. What does that look like again? Yeah, I suppose it is looking a bit stretched. So because they're not really related to the font size, we'll just call them, I don't know, 10 pixels. 15 pixels. So now they're the right height, and we need to do the width 15. I wonder if it's making them very skinny now because it's counting the text as the width. No, I'm changing that bloody checkbox. Oh my god. There we go, that's looking much better. They look a little bit too big, so we'll take them back to 10 maybe. Yeah, but anyways, so that's what they should be actually, as I'm going to show you. Font size -4. So we'll do them about the same, you know, relative to the font size. So we change the font size, they'll still be a little bit smaller than the font. So, yay, that looks reasonable. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bunch of pixels onto the minimum width of the window. Min width. Just going to make it an extra 50 pixels. Width. We'll start it off at 250 pixels wide instead of 200. Instead of 200, and make it 250 pixels minimum. There we go. So we can't squish it up. Now, that is looking okay. These are read kind of the same way as. Oh, you don't actually get an event for changing those. So they basically, because yeah, you just have to read the status of them, and so. Let's see. What we can do is we'll tie it onto the. For simplicity, we'll tie it onto the checkbox gadget. So if we get an event, so what we'll do is we'll only read the MX when the checkbox is enabled, for example. Get status, get. Get. Oh. So, I can't remember. Commands. Oh. Commands. GT. There's checkbox. GT. Okay, so it might just be get attributes. Okay, so we'll just do it with the attributes instead. So GT get attributes. So we want to get the attributes of the checkbox. So that's in GT list. And checkbox, and then we are going to look for the so checked is equal to, this is a function, and the flag we're looking for is CB checked. Okay, seems to work. So just for like demonstration purposes, we'll output that variable. So you can see there 1 0. So you're still getting the event is the same every time. It's ID 6, which is our gadget. So that's just clicked. but you can see it's 1 or 0 depending whether it's enabled or disabled, which is fine. And so what we'll do is we'll just add a little bit of extra code here, and we'll read the option. We've already declared that actually equals and that's just called the MX gadget, mutually exclusive gadget, or radio buttons for that. And then it was let's just see what the flags were for GTMX. Active, I presume. And that should just give us some output when we check the checkbox. So we can see here that we're getting checked as one. Active option only happens when the box is enabled. So we can change to option 2. We get no output. And when we switch it back on again, we get option 1, active option 0 or 1. So yeah, so they always count from 0. So option 0 and 1, that is all, well, it is almost all scalable, but the checkbox loses its status when we redraw it. So that's the last thing to do. So when we're resizing, which is up here, new size, did you already declare that is equal to, we did, well, yeah, we already did in the main parse checked. There's and I think that was the flag, wasn't it? And then afterwards we just do the same thing in reverse. So we set the attributes. And it's not a function anymore, so we get rid of the brackets. Oh, there's a typo there. GTools checkbox, comma, checked. GT checkbox. Now, let's see that. Oh, calls with a return value current type. Okay, sorry, yeah. That should be it. So now it will reset the state when we scale it. Yeah, there we go. Oh, we've made it too small now, and that's crashed it. That is probably corrupted memory. That was a guru. So it catches that and it tells you, but I think the damage is already done. So I'm after corrupting memory somewhere. So the window size is too small. The window height is too small because what's happened is I've squished the list. The list gadget, basically, if you squish it smaller than one line fits in, it doesn't like it. It has nowhere to render the stuff, and it just shits itself. So let's change our window. Where's our window? Sorry. Admin size. So we were trying to be clever about this, but that's it. Do you need to compile? Well, sorry, it's you're probably missing that bit, but I have a shortcut for compile. So what I'm doing each time is I'm going to compile and run, and what that does, that runs it with a debugger. So it runs it directly from the editor, if you like. So it's not making a standalone executable. So you can do that, but then you can make it a standalone executable as well. But then you don't have the debugger behind you to catch these things, and it will crash hard if you do things like that, where you've got memory corruption and stuff like that. So there we go. So now I've made the window big enough that it can't go too small. So now our list, it actually fits 2 items, and we can add loads of items there. And all that seems to work. And yeah, it goes smaller. And check this, and that works. Everything's working. Whoa! My flood pants are working. So there we go. But just for the just seeing as we were talking about that, for compiling stuff, you can see here you've got a create executable option, and what I'm going to do is we're just going to go on the RAM disk for now, and we give it a title. So and that's it. Now this is running under emulation, so it's very, very fast to compile. But Blitz is fast enough to compile anyway, because it's not, well, it's not as clever as a C compiler. It's, you know, it's, yeah. So it creates pretty chunky executables. Excuse me. Sorry, but you know, it's you know, so it is sped up quite a bit for because it's an emulation. But there you go. It is. But there you go. You can see we've created our executable here with its lovely Workbench 1.3 icon, and we run that, and there's our executable. And everything seems to be working fine. Something that's nice about these is, so you know, the way you can, Amiga executables and all Amiga files actually can contain a version string. So you can add a version string just by creating a string literal, and I usually put it up at the top. So we put it here, and I usually just call it that version equals, and then there's a particular format to it, and then you put in the date format is day, month, year, in that order, and that is how you have to do it, and that will be changed by locale to your local area by the version command, or should be, and that's it. So once I do that, we save that. If we compile that now, GadTools test, and now we run it. Oh, well, no, we run it, that's fine. But we check the version information. We can see now we've got some version information, and that's quite cool. It's, you know, it's kind of useful. Well, you can also see it doesn't do a huge amount, and it's 160K. Now, there are a couple of things that can be done to reduce that size. First thing is you can see that I've still got the debugger switched on. Now that leaves a load of debugger hooks and CPU traps in the code, and it doesn't really affect performance, but it does make it a bigger executable. So it slows it down a little bit, but it's not a huge amount. But it's always best to switch off the debugger before you create an executable, because the executable can't use the debugger anyway, the standalone executable. So, you know, so it's just wasting space. So, okay, it hasn't saved very much there. But the other thing is there are some optimization routines you can do and create minimized executable. You can see here, and that takes a few passes at it. Hopefully that has made it a bit smaller. There you go. So it's basically a third of the size it was. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of a key thing, I suppose, is to make smallest executable. So it does a few passes and it cuts out the dead code, and it does some optimizations, but really it's Blitz is still kind of more of a macro assembler than a proper compiler. It does a bit of it does a bit of compiler magic there when you do the optimized run, but you know, it's kind of it's still like 50K for an executable that size, or for a program that doesn't do much is quite big, you know. But anyway, there you go. That's sort of some stuff with the compiler. If you go into compiler settings, there's usually a make smaller code. Now, when you switch that on, it does that every time. And if you're running it on like some, let's say an 030 or something like that, that'll slow down, you know, your actual compile time. And so it'll make it a little bit slower. But you know, obviously an emulation doesn't make a difference. But yeah, actually, I'm just curious to see if that's actually made any difference to the size there. But I was under the impression that's what it always was. Yeah, it's the same size. So that's what make smallest executable will do anyway. But I suppose you'd only want to use that for testing if you're quite tight on memory. But yeah, there you go. Okay. Now, oh, I wanted to save this actually as a new name, so oh, I've overwritten that a load of times. It's okay. So we're on number 3 now. So what else is there about executables? I think that's kind of it. Big thing to bear in mind, big thing is, oh, what happened there? This line here, WB startup, and I've said it before, but I'll say it again. This line here is very important because this gives the program the startup code that's needed to talk to Workbench. So if you try to start a program from Workbench without that code, it'll crash. It'll still run fine from the shell. It'll still run fine from the Blitz editor, but it will crash hard. So you can't, basically that adding that line makes your program a little bit bigger, but it means it won't crash when you run it from Workbench. Simple as that. So, but yeah, that's important for that, because what'll happen is if you can still get an icon on it and you can still run it from Workbench without that line, and it'll just crash. But there you go. Anyway, that is that. I was going to touch on doing commodities. Okay. Oh, thank you very much for the follow. Thanks, 16-Bitten. Thank you very much. And yeah, you're welcome along. I'm not a particularly frequent or regular streamer, but I yeah, every week or two I'll do a stream. And all these I usually put on YouTube and GitHub on afterwards anyway. So so the code will be available for you to look at. And yeah, but thanks for dropping in. Cheers, bye-bye. And with that, I am out of beer. So I'm going to go and get a beer. I'll be back in a minute or two. Don't go away. Okay, beer time. Yay. Yeah, cheers, 16-Bitten. And yeah, so I'll talk to you again sometime, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm down to the dregs of my miscellaneous beer stuff. You know, all the stuff that's left over and kind of I either got as presents or, you know, some craft beer collection things. I'm not hugely gone on stout or dark beers. You know, porter or stout or dunkel, but you know, rather than go to the shop. But you know, occasionally, and that is smells like Baileys. Yeah. Come and get them. Come and get them. Oh, that smells good. Actually, that really does smell of Baileys. This is a Czech-style dry stout. Dark, strong beer, unfiltered, unpasteurized. 6.5%. Okay, well, this is gonna... Oh, yeah. So, cheers, guys. Oh, yeah. There's eating and drinking in that. Okay. So, what I was going to do next, I think I was saying in the last stream, yeah, cheers, was, and I'm going to look at commodities. Now, if you don't know what a commodity is, it's kind of like a mini program that, you know, it's sort of, if you're not familiar with the concept, it's sort of like a program that sits in the tray in Windows or Linux, you know, so you can kind of like get easy access to it, and sometimes like a helper program, like you know, for calibrating your controllers, or you know, for your printer drivers or whatever, you know, there's some, you know, it'd be something like that, or you know, but on the Amiga, they're little helper programs that hide away in the background, and like the screensaver, like things like there are loads of them. There are loads and loads and loads of them, and there's a program called Exchange, which is in the commodities drawer in Workbench, and that's what it looks like, and that lists all the commodities that are currently open. So I've got a bunch of them here. AmiDoc, that's this guy here. Blanker, that's the screensaver. Click to front means that a window, whoop, if you double click it, it double clicks to the front, which is a really nice behavior that I kind of like miss on all other platforms. Exchange is actually Exchange, so it's a bit meta. Freewheel, that is the mouse wheel kind of handler. Magic menu gives me these fancy transparent menus and stuff like that, because without that, they look like that. And Rec Attack and RAWB Info are just replacements for the other stuff. But you can see here, like for example, you've got simple controls here. You can show interface. Magic menu doesn't have an interface. It just replaces the menus. But you can see you can temporarily disable something by clicking that, and now it's disabled. So there you go. There's also a hotkey for doing this. That's how I did it earlier. But you can see, yeah, that it just temporarily disables it and re-enables it there. So they're little helper programs, but it's one of the things that, you know, I've written a couple of, and it's actually quite a nice thing to be able to just call up for a program to hide in the background and just call it up whenever you need to. So Control-Alt-Help is the hotkey for Exchange, and there are loads of others like Blanker's Control-Alt-B, I think. So if you go Control-Alt-B, you can see there, and there's this settings for the screensaver. So that's all, you know, that's kind of that's a very nice little system that was added to the Amiga in OS 2, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's OS 2 added commodities. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn our program into a commodity. If you make your interface with GUI, and I did some GUI tutorials a while back, they're on my YouTube. Let's just do the YouTube link thingy. Does that work? It does. I did some MUI tutorials before this, and to be honest, it fought me a bit. it was kind of hard going, because, you know, you see me struggling here with flags and stuff like that. It's 10 times worse with MUI, but it's a very nice interface system, and it gives you kind of the commodity actions for free. So you don't have to do anything really. You just kind of set up a MUI interface, and it automatically becomes a commodity. Oh, that's good stuff. That's hefty. I wouldn't drink too many of them now, but it's good. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up this program as a commodity. So at the moment, it's just a program that runs and opens its interface. But so how commodities work are, if we look at the main part of the program here, you can see we've got what we would call the event loop. So we've got wait event here that waits for an event to come along, and then you run through it and see what event triggered the wake up. So normally your program stays asleep with wait event, and obviously that's good for multitasking, because other programs can run in the background or can run while this is sitting there. And then when an event comes along, like the window's resized or it clicked or something like that, then you know, usually a select, which is a switch for the C users among us. You just cycle through and you find out what caused the event and you act on it. So commodities are another event, and if you do it with the OS calls, it's basically the same kind of thing as this normal event. They're called signals internally, and you just set up a new signal for a commodity event and you react to that signal. That's fine. Blitz doesn't quite work that way, unfortunately, because commodities were never in the original libraries. They're a third-party library. Now, that library's been around for so long that it is a de facto part of Blitz. And, you know, it's been, you know, it came as sort of on the bonus disc, if you like, of Blitz 2.1, and it's been there ever since. But, yeah, so it doesn't quite tie into the original event commands, but I'll do that later. But basically, what you need to do, you need to declare your program first as a commodity, and then you go from there. So let me see what happens. Where will we do this? We'll do this down here, just kind of like just before we start opening our window and stuff like that. Okay, so let's make some space here. And now this is the CX library. Tell you what, I'm going to go to the help page. Now, normally I run this at a much higher resolution, you know, because you can never have too many pixels, and especially for this kind of thing where you got like a text on the screen. And so this will be open full time at the bottom, but because for streaming it's easier to use a lower resolution, just so that people can read the text. But this here is the library browser, and it's pretty cool. So here are all the libraries that are installed. There are loads of them. Let's sort by name, because it is ORI Commodities Library. This one here. So you can see our loads of CX commands here. So what we do is, well, make commodity basically. So there are two different sort of two different sets of commands. The CX ones are the exchange commands, and these are basically the ones that your program is given from Exchange, or from similar to Exchange, from the commodity system. The others are kind of constants that you can use to determine the events and stuff. So what we do is, so we're going to make commodity, and make commodity will fail if the commodity already exists. So you can only have one commodity that has a given name. So you'll see here that it gives the parameters in brackets, and that means it's a function, and that means it returns a result. So we're going to do this. Usually that will fail if the commodity is running. Oh, not that one. So we'll just put a little message there, and then we quit gracefully before it does any damage. And there we go. And let's see, make commodity. So now the parameters for make commodity, names, titles. So, yeah. We're going to call it stream test. Oh, yeah, yeah, no, so one is, I think the first one is like a short name for it. And then we do a stream test. And then we can put a description in there as well. So we're just going to call it that. Our GadTools stream test v1.0. And now, nothing else will change, but if we do that, we call up Exchange, we should see it in there. So there's SZ. Oh no, so it's the wrong way around. But at least we're getting, okay, so the name that shows up in the list and the name that shows up in here are two different fields. Okay, so there we go. So we can just put the same one in there. And then Exchange will show it stream test. Okay, and then stream test. So there's the text that we put in there. Fine, it's now a commodity. If we try to run that again, we'll get an error. So let's make an executable of that just so we can run it twice. Create minimize executable. That's it there. Let's look at Exchange. So our commodity is there now. And now look what happens if we try to run it again. I should really put the debugger on just for this stuff. Can create commodity, already running, and it's quit. That's fine. Now, what that has done is, in the background, when you try to start a second commodity, it actually sends a signal to the first one. And that's why in a lot of the commodities in Workbench, when you double click them, they hide. And then you double click it again, and that makes the interface pop up. It's because they get an event and they can act on that. So I'm gonna make that a bit smaller just to have a bit of space to work. Dun, 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 dun. So we've made our commodity anyway. That's fine. So internally here we have to look for our commodity commands. And what we do is now this is where it gets complicated, because the commodities library, did I hide that altogether or did I close it altogether? I did, but let's go to let's just go to the actual documentation for it. So this guy, so the deflibs, these are the third-party libraries that are pretty much standard. Commodities lib. Okay, so you can see all the commands here. That's what we were looking at earlier, but this gives us some useful stuff. So set CX status. Oh yeah, so that lets us change that. So now, so what we want to do is commodity event. This is the problem. Commodity event is a separate command, so it only checks for the signals that the commodity uses. So the first one, which is the event or wait event that we can see in our code here, is that puts the program to sleep and waits for an intuition event, but it doesn't wait for a commodity event, which is a problem because basically if it goes to sleep and you get a commodity event, it doesn't act on it. So what we can do, so what we need, there are a couple of approaches to this, and one of them is a lot of GUI programs have an internal tick that fires off an event like 10 times a second or something like that, and it's used for kind of updating GUIs, and it means it's asleep for a lot of the time and just cycles through the loop just to check everything. So what we'll do is we will do that, and we have to add a flag to the window that we want to actually look for that event, and that is called the intuiticks, I think. Let me see. Constants. Wait, no, that's not what I wanted. IDCMP and intuiticks. Okay. So we're going to add that to the flags, because by default the window that we open doesn't actually look for that. So let's see what happens when we do that. Oh, yeah, because it's because that one's running. Okay, I was kind of expecting it to give us some events, but Let's see. Oh, we don't actually print it out, so just for the sake of it, let's do that. And so we should get, that's our intuitic event. So that's just a value. You don't need to worry about that. It's a magic number. And you can see, like, when you move the mouse, you get an event. When you click on something, you get an event. You know, so these are up. This is the event stream that's happening here. So if you see, if I don't do anything, the intuitix just fires off like 5-10 times a second, and that wakes up the loop, and that means we can then check for an event, a commodities event, and act on that. So we don't need to see that event anymore. So we go through our loop, which is all the intuition stuff, and we'll go to the bottom here, and then we can then we'll check for commodities event. Commodity event, that's what we're looking for. And we put that in the variable there. And then and we'll just give a bit of output for that. So nothing's happening at the moment, but what happens now if we go to here, stream test, of course, when it's not working, it's not bloody working. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, intuitix is only happens that's mildly annoying. It only happens when the window's active. Okay, so that's no good to us. We can't actually use that trick. We will have to run the loop with a little timer. So we can't do wait event. So we just do event, and instead of wait event putting the program to sleep, event will let our program run straight away, and it'll just return a 0 if there's no event. So what we'll do is that will busy loop basically. So instead of using wait event and triggering it with an event every 10th of a second or whatever, we're going to get rid of that, and we're just going to run a delay. So the delay system call puts the program to sleep for a given number of frames. So we'll do a delay 5, and that will mean that we're not impacting the multitasking, because that still puts it asleep for 5 frames. It'll wake up, it'll go through the event loop, and then it'll go back to sleep for 5 frames. So that should be fine. Now, what we need to do is we'll take that flag back out, because we don't really want that to affect things. And actually, we don't want the mouse movement events, because we get a lot of them, and that'll just they'll queue up while the program's asleep. So ID CMP mouse move, I think. Mouse move, yeah. So sub ID CMP takes away the flags, I think. Yeah, that's fine. That's what we wanted. Ooh, what happened there? What? So we're taking away, we're adding in the list view and intuitix. We don't want intuitix anymore. And we'll take away the mouse move one, because we don't need to know when the mouse moves, and it's firing off loads of events so we're trying to make it as efficient as possible. So now ooh, why have you done that now? What has happened here? because this is look now it's over right in the corner of the window. Shake my fist at you. Okay, so now you can see we're getting commodity events. See, when we press buttons. Now we haven't identified the event yet, but you can see it's happening there. So at least we're communicating with our program. Why has that changed? How? And what changed that? Window flags. Oh, I deleted the wrong bloody flag, didn't I? The wrong bloody flag. What was that flag? What was that flag? Do. Did I get rid of the gimme 00 flag? What were you thinking, Rob? That's it, you weren't thinking, were you? Okay. There we go. So we're back to there, and we're getting commodity events now. We just have to determine what the commodity event was and then act on it. So similar to the other ones, commodity, so it's not commodity event, it's something else. So less drinking, more thinking. That's a defeatist attitude. Yes, that makes sense during the workday. Yeah, I would say less drinking, more thinking. But no, Saturday night. I will kill my brain cells if I want. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just see. Okay, so now we know the commodity event is just true or false. And then we need to get the actual event, which is I don't still have that window open. Oh, I do still have the window open, don't I? Commodity event CE. And CX kill. Oh, exchange message, that's the one. Exchange message, and then select EM. And then this gives us some constants. So the library is still open there. And if we look at the commands here, we've got like CX enable, CX disable. Well, let's start with the simple one first. CX kill is basically when you want to kill off the program. So case. And oh my god. So these commands essentially are just constants. They're constants that have been compiled as a reference. I don't know, but basically it just returns a value, and you can look up those values, but I'm not going to. But that all that does is it tells you it matches the value with the function, and it makes it kind of easy. But you know, for our other stuff, we're using our own constants or system constants. But for these, we're using just these compiled constants. They're just because they're part of the command library, but that's fine. And so if we get the kill command, we just say quit equals true, and that should let us kill our program with exchange. Simple as that. There we go. So that's quite cool. That's working. So the other stuff is a little bit more a little bit trickier. What we're going to do is we're going to have a flag that says hidden. And we're going to set that somewhere here. And so we're just going to have a little variable. We're going to set that up there, hidden, and that's true or false. And so we're starting the program with the window open, so we're saying it's false. And then okay, so CX up here, if now what we have to do is we have to close our window, but remember its position and size. So I think we should do the disappear part first. Let's just give us a little bit of space. So the disappear, we need to close the window. But we don't want to just close the window. We need to first off detach our GadTools list. And then free it, and then we free the window. And you have to do it in the right order, or you're talking null pointers and crashy McCrash. So yes, so detach GT list. And we've only got one window involved. So we also want to make sure that the window's visible, because you can't, if you start freeing stuff that doesn't exist, you're going to have crashes as well, because you're trying to free memory that has already been freed. So just make sure we do that. So, hidden fault, detach GT list. Nearly sure that's the right order. But what we should do before that is, did we already choose win X and win Y? When we open the window? We didn't. So we should define some variables here. So win Y. Win height. Chewins. Okay, that should be so now we're kind of the window size is driven by variables. So we can change them, and we can store them, and we can set them back up. So we're going to copy that line and bring it down here for when we'll put it there. I'm going to come back to that now in a second. But or do I get them when I resize? I should. No, because the resize is to do with the gadgets, and it's to do with the inner width and inner height. That's okay. don't need to worry about that. So hidden equals true. I'm nearly sure that is right. Return the horizontal. Yeah, that's fine. Windowy and win. You can see where this is going. So we save them in variables. We make our and then we detach our GT list, then we free it, then we close the window, and then we set our hidden flag so that we know we're hidden. Okay, and then we just reverse that. So now we open our window, we refresh it, we put a new value in here because it's essentially a new window, even though it's kind of the same window, and it's got the same dimensions and the same flags. I hope I haven't changed flags anywhere else, have I? No, that's it. So that's fine. They're untouched, basically. So, and when we open the window, that's all we need to do. We need to just redraw our gadgets then. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then basically these three here. So now let's see if we can hide it and if it will reappear, because it may not. Stream test. Hide interface. Hides the interface. Show interface. There we go. Beautiful. And does it still work? Oh, okay. Yeah, we just have to. We just have to direct our text once it. Oh, and that was a bit laggy there. So I think our delay is actually probably a bit too generous. So let's drop that down to 2. So I think we're still getting a lot of events in the event queue. But that's fine. Yeah, so we'll do it. We'll redirect our output back to the shell there again. Are you having a drink yourself, Nivrig? So let's see. Hide interface. Show interface. Hide show. Hide show. Excellent. There we go. So that's working. And now the other thing is, there's another command in there you see that's CX unique, and this is what happens when the program is restarted twice or is started twice. So we're just going to copy, because it basically just makes the program appear. Usually you can define your own behavior for it, but in C you would just like add a second case there and drop it through, but that does not work in Blitz because you don't have a break keyword. So you have to redo it, or you can just give it a go sub or something like that and use the same code again. But we'll just copy and paste it because it's simple enough. So that's fine, and we quit that. And what we'll do is we'll make we'll create our executable, which is there. That's there, and what we'll do is we'll hide that. Stream test, remove. And then we go and try and run it again. It's after popping up. Oh. Do we have 2 of them running now? Come on, event now. What's going on here? Where has the one gone? Did I close it? Stream test. It's definitely there. Let's try and run it again. Okay, can't create commodity, already running. And there it's available. Oh, did I try and hide it by closing the window? Because... yeah. Okay, so... yeah, now it's working. Okay, so if this is hidden, let's hide the interface. And we try to run it again. Well, I'm going to use this because it's easier. You can see that it pops up, but that's the original program running. It hasn't started a new program. And so if we hide that, and you can see it in the debug output, when I compile this, it says can't create commodity, and then it's after quitting, even though the window's still here. So that's the original window that I ran from Workbench, and that's after popping up because it got the CX unique event. So when you have the program already running, you just run it again to unhide it, to show it. So the only main things that are left are the kind of the enable and disable, and they are well, the kind of the behavior depends on what you're doing. What we'll do, you know, it's up to the program what to do, like, you know, because it might completely stop everything from working. It might just stop a certain function from working. What I'm going to do is you're going to enable or disable the list. So so if we're not hidden, very important to do that, because if you try and enable or disable a gadget that doesn't exist, because remember, when it's hidden, the gadgets have disappeared, they don't exist anymore. So you can't interact with the gadgets once the interface is hidden. It's not like MUI where you can do that and it just kind of, it behaves as if they're visible. It doesn't work like that. So you have to make sure it's visible. So if hidden equals false, then we something like that, and then we just do the same kind of thing for CX disable. Okay. So this is just to show that it works for completeness, but yeah, the functionality is entirely up to you. Like you could, if you had, for example, it's an extreme example, but a TCP stack, you could use the enable disable to, you know, stop and start the connection. You know, the screen blanker, if you disable it, it switches off the screensaver, and the click to front commodity that I was showing you there, yeah, disable it, just stops it from double clicking Windows to the front. Okay. Let's have a look though. Yeah, because it's already running, Rob. Here we go. So here we have it running. Let's add some items. Just add. Loads of items in there. Now, stream test. Let's make that inactive. And you see it's just disabled the list, so you can't click on anything anymore. And then we can disable it. And you'd probably want to disable this as well, because, you know, you can still go in there and do that. But, you know, that's up to you guys. Right, there you go. That's commodities. Anyone got any questions on that stuff? There's a whole other level to commodities, by the way, and I should talk about them a little bit more. The commodities, this is kind of the more sort of superficial aspect of commodities, is this simple, and it's really, really nice for when you're making a small program that you want to hide away and keep running in the background. Very, very nice. You know, you can also set hotkeys, and I'll do that now in a minute. But yeah, so it's nice to have that in your program, and that is you know, that's one aspect of it. But there's a deeper aspect of commodities, and it's hooked right into the core of the operating system, and it can interact with the I/O streams and the intuition streams themselves. Like, so you can, so You know the way we're getting intuition events by clicking on a gadget and it says, oh yeah, gadgets are, you know, you can see the events are cropping up here. You can intercept them with a commodity and you can modify them, or you can inject your own. The commodities is actually a very, very powerful system. It's really cool, actually. But that level of things I'm not going to go into. It's a bit tricky to do in Blitz because you basically have to do it with operating system calls or similar, and you just have to go a lot deeper. And I'm not going to do that. It is a very nice system, but it's also very complicated to set up. But yeah, it works really well when you do it, and that's how things like there's a commodity that disables the caps lock key, for example, you know, and it just intercepts it and says that you're not doing that, and as soon as you press the caps lock key on, it switches it off again. There are commodities that like can change your keyboard layout, or you know, disable the mouse pointer when the keys are being pressed. So you can observe the input and output streams. You can interact with them. You can hijack them. You know, it's very powerful, a very powerful system. But for making simpler tools, this aspect, the kind of the user interface aspect of it, is the main bit, and that's all I'm going to do. Yeah. But there's one other part of that is the hotkeys. Now I'm trying to remember. I vaguely remember this crashing on me before when I did hotkey stuff. But let's give it a go anyway. So you can, when you set up a commodity, and we made the commodity there, and we can define a hotkey. And you'll notice that most of, like, I'm pressing Control-Alt-Help to call up exchange key. You can see here it says Control-Alt-Help. If we look at the commodities, each commodity, like I said earlier, Control-Alt-B is the blanker. That's better. I had clicked a button on my mouse and it had changed the DPI, and I was like, this feels wrong. There's something is. Oh, you know, I'm not that drunk. I'm struggling to move the mouse, but yeah. So anyways, that's sorted. That's better. But yeah, all the commodities. Where is my system partition? There it is. So tools, commodities, and if you look at the tool types, you can see. I picked the wrong one, didn't I? If you look at the tool types, it doesn't have it. But basically, you can define the tool types in the tool types what the hotkey will be. I'll do tool types afterwards as well, maybe if I have a chance. Or will I? Tool types are easy to deal with Amiga Blitz 3. I think with Blitz 2, and I'm trying to keep things to Blitz 2 standard, I think it's a little bit trickier. But I'll give it a look after this anyway. But the hotkey can behave kind of like the same as the appear function. So we can do that. Like, so what we'll do is we'll set a hotkey here. So and you can have multiple hotkeys for doing different things, but 0, and it's literally it's a standard string, and the OS interprets it. It's part of the very powerful underlying system. So it'll be, let's say, does Control-Alt-W do anything? And most commodities are Control-Alt something. It types a funny control character, but and you can literally type it in text like that, which is cool. Set hotkey is that, and now when we go down here, after we've checked for that exchange message, we do we have to get the hotkey hit. I'm nearly sure. Return the number of the hotkey which has been hit since the last commodity event called -1. Okay, so we have hotkey 0 defined, and we just get, like, basically once we check our exchange message, we check for a hotkey hit. Now by rights you should really repeat until hotkey is -1, because there could be multiple hotkeys there. Realistically, you know, if you're pressing multiple different hotkeys within a frame, ask me arse. I won't be doing that. I won't be dealing with that case. But anyways, okay, now so that's the end of our loop for that. Clumpsy, hello and welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you for dropping in, and it's a good question actually. Yes, you can. You do, and I will show you now. Yes, that's a good question. I'll answer that now. So, when you open a window in Blitz Basic, it starts with a default set of events that it's already subscribed to, and it's kind of a jack of all trades list. So it doesn't include all the events, but includes some main events. But what I have done here is I've modified that list with these two commands here. So I have taken away the mouse move event, and I've added the list view event, the list view scroll event, so that it will react to those events. So those ones aren't included, you know. So basically the default set is included in it's a default IDCMP command. Okay. So it doesn't tell me the defaults because, you know, that would make sense. But yes. So what I've done, you know, the standard list wasn't entirely suitable for me, so I didn't want to get all the events from the mouse move, so I've gotten rid of them. But I do want a lot of the events, like the window resize and the close button and all, you know, those kind of events. I need them because the machine's using them. But is it in IDCMP? Okay, it tells me that, but it doesn't tell me what the default ones are. Maybe in window command. No. But anyways, basically, yes, you can modify the list, or you can, using the default IDCMP command, you can set your an entire list. You can rewrite that list entirely, so you can set all the events that you want, and then every window you open after that command will have that specific set of events listed. It's a little bit different to how you would do it in C, where basically you get a signal and you act on the signal, and then you query it and to see what's caused it. And that's nice, because then you can just set up different signals for commodities and for AREX and for message ports and all that kind of stuff, and you can all do it in one loop. But that doesn't work in Blitz. Well, you can do it that way as well, but you have to use the OS calls, and I'm trying to. It's less efficient, but I'm using the simplest Blitz way of doing it. But anyways, okay, so this is the end of our loop for the commodities, or for the exchange messages. So what I'm going to do is so HK is the hotkey hit, and that's going to be -1 if no hotkey was hit. So basically, we do have to check. We can't just see if it's true. We have to check if it's 0, because that's the hotkey I've defined. And I'm just going to do the same thing again. And because we're now using this code in 3 different places, I'm just going to throw it in a go sub. Hey. So we'll do that now. A nice little trick of Blitz. You highlight that and just control left, and you can change the indent on it. So we'll do it that way. So we can get rid of that code there now. So it goes up appear window, goes up appear window. So that's there. And we'll do the same thing for that hotkey. That's not what I wanted. Goes up appear window. Okay. So now when we fire our hotkey off, we will also open the window. And what did I just... I picked Control Alt W for no reason whatsoever. Uh-oh. Compile error. Okay, so brackets not allowed in Blitz statement. Okay. Oh, it thinks it's a statement. It thinks it's a statement because I didn't have a return key. So, yeah. Just in case. I can't see why it would fail, but well, it might fail if the hotkey is already set by another program. So let's see. It hasn't given us a warning, so that should be it. Let's go here, stream test, hide the interface, and now our hotkey is Control Alt W. Nothing happened. Why you mock me so? Is it a lowercase w? Is that what you need? Is that what you're talking about? Hide interface. It is. So it wanted Control Alt Shift W. So Control Alt W, and there you go. That's our window popping up again. And there we go. I think that's the main interface stuff of commodities done. Anything else? I was going to look at. I was going to look at tool types. And tool types, if you're not familiar with them, are kind of little sort of settings that are stored in a program icon. They're kind of like they're not everyday settings. They're the kind of things you set once and then you leave them forever. So they're they're settings you don't really want to clutter up. Like if you have a config window in your program, you don't want to clutter it up with settings like what's the hotkey. You can, but for something like that, you're gonna set it once and never look at it again. So, excuse me. So tool types are a good place to put that. You can also store other, you can get your program to store settings in the tool types, but it depends on how you want to do things. But it's another one of these nice little Amiga things. Now, so using Amiga Blitz comes with a load of includes, and the DOS include has a very good set of commands, and they're basically just wrappers. They're basically, it's written in Amiga Blitz itself. It's written in Blitz Basic, and it gives you a load of functions that that are basically wrappers for the OS calls. But so it takes a lot of the pain out of dealing with all the pointers and the structs and stuff that you need, which is nice. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the DOS include. Three. Includes DOS include, but see, these aren't included in Blitz Basic 2, and some of the commands that are used to make them work are not Blitz compatible. So Blitz and Amiga Blitz 3 are like 99% compatible, probably more, but there are a few Amiga Blitz commands that it looks like were created and directly for the use of the includes. You see, so you can probably port the includes to Blitz 2, but I haven't done it. I've done it for one or two, but I haven't done it for like these big ones. So this is the DOS include, and that includes some tool type stuff. So set tool string state, so there are a lot of them here, and it does all of this fancy string manipulation and stuff like that. So that's so that you don't have to, which is great, but won't work in Blitz 2. So I'm nearly sure there is a Blitz 2 library that does tool types. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the libraries. Where's my library browser? Elmore DOSLib. That sounds plausible. No, there's nothing there. Elmore. Ori DOSLib. Maybe here? No. File notifies. Ori. Tool types lib. Okay, so there's a separate one for tool types libs. Okay, for tool types. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't used this before, so this is going to be a learning experience. So, let's see, returns true or false, say whether or not the given tool type is found. Okay, cool. Oh no. Get icon object. So, do we have to do that first? This library contains commands related to reading, comparing, and setting of tool types. All tool types are case insignificant, but as general, they really should be completely in uppercase. Attempts to open system. If the opening. Okay, that's great. Doesn't tell me exactly how to use it. So let's give it a go. So let's find tool value. Two vowels, find tool value. That looks simple enough. What could possibly go wrong? So when a program starts up, we'll read our tool types. We'll do it down here where we deleted that white space. I thought, yeah, there's our commodities. We'll do it here before the commodities. So, so what we're doing is, let's do hotkey is equal to and the tool type name is CX hotkey. So that's a standard OS commodity, and it just gives you the string. So hotkeys, and then set hotkey is, and what we do is we'll just say if there we go. So Control Alt W. So that's our okay. So that's basically if a hotkey isn't set, if there's no tool type that has that. Yes, because so it'll return a null. Okay, yeah, so that's fine. That looks to be okay, but match tool value. Oh, that's cool. Actually, it lets you select multiple things. Cool. But free icon object. It sounds like we need to get the icon first, which would make sense because we don't even know what icon we're talking about. So what we're going to do is doesn't tell you it's a long file. Yeah, get icon object, and the file name is going to be, what did we call this? GadTools test. Assume we put the .info on it. Learning experience for everyone. Get icon object. Okay. And then what we're going to do is like the other programs, we will put it in the window title. So here's our window. And we put it in the middle there. So we'll know what the program is doing. So we can see there, hotkey equals Control-Alt-W. Excellent. Cool. So we can see that that's getting set correctly because our hotkey wasn't set by the icon. Now, what we've done here is we've given it a file name of GadTools That's a relative path because there's no absolute path. So that's based on where the executable is run from. Now, because I'm running it from Blitz Basic, that's not really the case. So in Amiga Blitz 3, when you go to create executable, you choose the folder, or the drawer. So it is actually set to the right place. But in Blitz 2, you have to set, there's a special menu item, and you have to set path. It's called set default path or something like that, and you have to use that to choose the directory that you want to run the program from in the virtual, from the debugger. So if you don't do that, it will default to the directory of Blitz 2 itself, and obviously that's it's not gonna find your icon then and stuff like that. But let's have a look at this, and we'll do a commodity, and oops. T instead of W. Okay, so we've set that. Now let's run this and see if it works. Nope, of course not. It shouldn't be the directory. What we'll do, we'll make it an executable anyway. Let's see if we run from here. Control-Alt-W. Control-Alt-T. So let's do some debugging here. If I can. Unable to get icon object. Okay. And we get our output from there. Moo on you, welcome along, welcome in there. This is an emulator, and I should apologize for that, but I do use an emulator for a lot of the coding streaming because it just makes things easier when it falls on its arse and it's quicker to reboot. When I'm doing hardware stuff, like I've done some streams on the Solus software, I'll stream from the actual Amiga because it has to be obviously connected to the hardware. But when things go wrong, it takes a little bit longer to do things, and it's a little bit longer to compile. It just slows things down a little bit. So so I tend to do it with the emulator just for streaming purposes. So hotkey is not reading the hotkey at all there. So I may be not understanding how this system works. The file name given will have .info added at the end of it. Okay. So I don't actually need a .info there. Okay, cool. Hotkey, there we go. And now it's working. So that was all that was wrong. And to test that out, let's go down, hide the interface, and go Control-Alt-T. Oh, no. No, it doesn't work. Let's see, why is that not hide interface, Control Alt T. Okay, I'm not sure why that's not working, but it's possibly just a clash with another thing. Or actually, I put the other one in capitals and that one's in lowercase. So let's have a look at that, just see if that's the difference. Control Alt T. And let's compile that into an executable now and just GadTools test. It's still giving me lowercase. Why? Oh, I think I know what's wrong. I haven't freed up the info block. So I haven't freed up to get the I have a lock on the icon now, so the icon can't be modified because my program has it open, even if my program's quit. So to quit. Is that the one? Yeah, free icon object. Yeah, so I forgot about that. So now I've put a lock on that disk object for a while, so that won't go away probably until I reboot. Now, Clumsy, what if you move the file and icon to another location? It does just work indeed, yeah, because it won't work for when I'm compiling it with testing until I change the directory to where the new location is. But for the actual executable, it'll work just fine because it's a relative path. If you look at the path I've given it, it's just the name of the program. So if you rename the program, it'll stop working. It won't be able to find it anymore. But that's it. It'll just find, you know, it's basically relative to where the program was run from. So that should be it. That's all it should. That should be all you need. Okay, so I may have shafted the hotkey thing by locking out the icon for a while. We'll try run it again and we'll quit and see if it has allowed me to unlock that. But yeah, I'd say that's the problem. Although this shouldn't be case sensitive. Nope, there we go. Yeah, so now that I've quit it, freeing up the object. So that means the second time it probably wasn't able to even get the object. But now that should be it now. So our thing should be in capitals now. So now it's in capitals. I've edited it. And let's hide it. Hide interface. And now Control Alt T. Okay, W worked fine. I don't know why T is not working. It must be clashing with something else. Something else has defined that hotkey, and it's just yeah. Anyways, the W worked fine. So let's go back to that and see if it works. Control Alt W. No. Oh, what's going on? Oh, what have I broken now? So what have I changed? Hotkey 0. So set hotkey. Hotkeys there. Hotkeys. Let's see what happens if I just disable this. Let's just make sure that's disabled. So you just disable a tool type, putting brackets around it. So that should give Control W. Hide interface. Oh, why you mock me. So that worked with the keyboard shortcut. So we enable this again. Because it's got quotes around it. Betcha that's it. There we go. That's all it was. In Programmer, although it hasn't, oh yeah, I haven't updated that with the given the window title. And hide that. Yeah, that works. So now let's try it with a different one. Yeah, that's probably it. Control-Alt-T. There we go. Working. So there you go. That's the last little bit of the commodities and tool types, which is pretty cool. One last tool type actually, which is which is quite a common one. Let's see, what's the last trace? Find tool type, and that returns a true or false if the tool type is there. So if and CX pop-up. Oh no, it's not that. It's so find tool value. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically program it so that we can hide the program when it starts. So it starts in the background. If find tool value is no, then have we defined hidden already? Hidden, it's there, so we just move it up above this. Hidden equals false. Okay. So now what we do is now, this is where things might be. Oh, what's happened here? No, it's causing. I've missed something. The actual window bit. Oh yeah. Oop. Save that, and now it should start hidden. So if we open our Exchange here, we can see our program didn't open a window, but it's actually there, and we can click Show Interface, and there it is. So we can start our program hidden. And yeah, there you go. So any questions on all that? I think that's me kind of. I think that's all of commodities covered and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it is quite nice doing all that you know, stuff, and you can just change that then. You can either disable it or you can change it to yes or anything else, obviously, and it will start with its GUI. So yeah, no, it is actually quite a neat little system. It's all sort of standard stuff, and I think in some of the versions of the OS you can actually have tick boxes that you can turn these things on and off. But or some versions of the info window, but yeah, so it seems to. It works well, and I think that may be the first time I've used that tool types library, and it works fine. Once you fumble through it a little bit, but yeah, that got you there of leaving the lock on the icon is yeah, that's a good one to remember. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And then that should, like, other than a couple of things here and there, that should all work in Blitz Basic 2 as well. So I know I'm doing it in Amiga Blitz, but there's very little that won't work in Blitz Basic 2. I've probably covered it in previous streams as well. One of the main things is the way I open the windows. The way I get the pointer to the window straight away. But if you do that in Blitz 2, you need to just open the window the old way and without having a... without like assigning a pointer, and then you assign the pointer afterwards with this line here. But then it's basically the same thing. I don't think I think I've avoided doing all the Amiga Blitz stuff, and so yeah. So if you use the Amiga Blitz includes, it just uses the standard OS calls the way you would do in C for getting tool types, and that's it. And then but it does the neat string manipulation and pointer manipulation that you need to do. Which is, you know, just gives you a nice tidy Blitz wrapper for it. There's some bits in the bottom of that are strong. But there we go. What? Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to probably call it there as well. Look at that, the crash counter's at 0. That's probably a first, or it's certainly a rarer occasion. But yeah, cool. Good night, Nivrig. I'm probably going to call it a night now, unless anyone has any questions. Anyone have any quick questions to look at, or you know, suggestions for the next stream? Yeah. Yeah. But excellent. Cheers. So yeah, yeah. If there's if there's nothing else, zero. I know it's it's usually around, I don't know, 3 or 4 crashes during the session. Sometimes a hell of a lot more, but yeah, that's not bad. But yeah, okay. Any questions, guys? Anything or suggestions for what to do for the next one? Because I'm kind of, that's the basis of the GUI. After that, it's more sort of, it's getting into all the specifics of what you want your project to do. What I'll do actually is, while I'm here, I'll show you my entry to the tool jam, my first entry to the tool jam. So one of the categories for the tool jam is most useless tool. So here's my most useless tool. It's called Closer. And if you look at the README here, it is about closing your Workbench windows. So, you know, so it'll close your Workbench windows for you. It is massively... That's me, isn't it? Yes, I am the most... is the most useless tool. Yes, absolutely. But here's my closer tool for to give me tough competition, and it's a nice GUI. And what it does is it actually goes through the screen, and it lists all the windows, and then it goes and closes them one by one, starting with the nearest window. So you can probably see where this is going. But anyway, so you click start and let it do its magic, and it will close itself. And that is it. And that's my entry. So yeah, that's it. Inspiration from that silly wooden box on the internet that switches itself off. But I love, I put a lot of work into this. It's all font sensitive, nice font sensitive GUI. I stopped short of localizing the start button, but it moves the mouse and everything. It clicks the button for you. I better win a prize for this. But anyways, yeah, that's my game jam, or my tool jam entry. Watch this space. Anyways, right. With that, I will take my leave and let's go raid someone. Who is on? Who are we going to raid? We've got Pints and Amiga. I think we should probably go and have a look at them. Night Nivrig, have a good one, and sure, I'll talk to you soon. Talk to you very soon, I'm sure. Take care. Okay, yeah, I think we'll go and we'll raid Pints and Amiga, who are doing some, well, Amiga stuff. Let's have a look. Oh, they're playing... not entirely sure, to be honest. But I'm going to... Yeah, we'll go and raid them. Them guys there. Okay, right. Where's my raid button gone? There we go. Okay, so let's do this. Thanks very much, everyone, for joining in. It's great to have you here. This video will be around for a little while. It'll be on YouTube. But yeah, thanks very much. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you again in a week or two, or maybe during the week. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Thanks. Good night.
Raiding with a party of 6. Holy shit, we just got a raid.
We got raided. We
Alex,
no longer
you
have...
should be co-noting this stuff right now, dude. You're not playing, so you should be like
Color
hell yeah,
commentating.
raid.
Dude, I got a pretty good video that came sent to me.
Dude, you realize you're sitting there on camera just scrolling through your phone, right?
No, listen, bro. When somebody sends me a video of their booty, I gotta see it.
I don't want to see their damn booty.
Yes, you do.
Maybe I do.
Yeah, you do.
The other video gave me stars.
Diabetes.
Stars. What do you mean stars?
Scars and track marks.
I want part of that. I want part of that picture.
Man, listen. Listen, watch yourself. Hang with your boy, you get all kinds of shit. Trust me. And I know you got spit games, so it's gonna be easy.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to talk you to nothing. So.
Pay attention. It's a bomb. Yes. I can't see my dick. Mine.
I'm getting that fixed.
I'm getting that fixed.
In October.
Alex lost it. Alex lost it. He lost it. Oh shit! I blew my wad. What the hell am I doing here? I don't know. I'm too drunk to care.
I'm pretty fucked up. I ain't gonna lie.
My
Really?
name is Alex.
Dude, I just took a
I'm shocked to find that out.
Hold on. How much? Oh, damn, Jack.
I've had some too.
We almost hit the bottle, bro.
Oh, we will hit the bottom.
We've already hit rock bottom on this stream. You know.
Dripping Springs, that cool, refreshing drink.
I'll
No,
drip.
it's Enchanted Rock.
I'll drip your springs.
Yeah, you will.
Oh Lord. Oh, that's so nasty. What the hell? I picked the wrong shit, Grant. Oh, there's a fiver.
Booyaka.
Oh, I'm getting a
Booyaka.
combo.
Booyaka.
Watch this
Combo,
combo.
motherfucker.
Watch this
Combo,
combo.
motherfucker.
Watch this massive combo.
Watch this. Oh, Jack, you fucked up.
No, I did not.
Booyaka.
Watch that shit. Watch it. Here it comes.
Did you just say
Oh.
Boudica?
Booyaka, motherfucker. In your face.
Boudica. Here it comes. Here it comes. It's getting nasty.
Boudica is actually one of my favorite ancient queens.
Oh,
She's
here it
badass.
comes. Got a drop right here. Here it comes. Greeny beanie. Oh, that's the wrong damn color.
That's what I say every time Alex shows up.
Hey.
Oh, that's bad.
Hey, where the white women at?
Wait a minute. That wrong.
Are you paying attention to Grant? Because I ain't.
Yep, I got that.
Grant, in your face, motherfucker. All right.
No, that's round three. Round three. Here we go.
Fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
Oh, now
you
you're gonna
up,
get mad.
motherfucker.
You're gonna get mad. He gonna get mad now. You Bible thumping bitch. You're gonna get mad now.
Oh, shit.
No one is betting on Grant
Come on. So no, there's people betting on you, bro.
because they're smart.
No, there's people that need to be betting on Grant. Because nobody else on my side can make money if not at least $10 is dropped on Grant.
When Alex and I played each other, they all bet on black.
No, man. Elvin Hawk gave
I
up on
would.
me. Elvin Hawk gave up on me, bro. I'm upset by that.